Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in this wonderful world of ours. My name is Scott, and this is our weekly show with Trina Paulus, author of Hope for the Flowers, and so much more. And we're kind of on a roll this week, this season, this Advent season, aren't we, Trina?
Yes, it's a very special season. It means a lot to me. My history is when I got out of high school, I went to Grailville, which is the Grail Center, an international women's movement. And it was a fabulous place. I arrived in the middle of October and had enough time to get used to the practically monastic kind of life that I was looking forward to be trained spiritually, to be a lay person in the world. I'm Catholic. And when I was growing up, born in 1931, at this time of history, this is 1949, um, it was very clear that there were basically two choices for a Catholic girl who was serious about her religion. One was to get married, and the other was to become a nun. And I'd been through a number of experiences during my high school years about Catholic action and lay people working with lay people. And it was a time of the Catholic worker developing and the friendship policy, interracial work. And I went to high school in 1945 and graduated in 49. That's just from the end of the Second World War, the dropping of the atom bomb. And I remember Pearl Harbor and all those things. So this is, I'm sort of the war generation and the post-war generation. So this is what I wanted to do. So I went off and worked in a laundry, and then Advent came. And this is a season of light overcoming darkness eventually. But during Advent, it gets darker and darker and darker. And of course, Christmas Day was chosen to be considered the birth of Jesus. We don't know when it happened, but it was considered as part of the darkest time of the year when the light of Christ would come and start to illuminate. That's the meaning of it. And so all these light experiences and the candles and all the things that are meaningful during that time. But my human experience was this was such a rich time. You have to imagine now, we were really founded by Dutch people. And for them, St. Nicholas was, Santa Claus comes out of St. Nicholas, by the way. You probably can recognize it in the names itself. But he used to drive through Amsterdam and with his horses and all his gifts for all the kids, and go down to the canal and ride away on a boat in a canal. And so that's how they experienced St. Nicholas. And then St. Lucy was on the 12th. And I remember being in bed, if you can imagine yourself, not expecting it, because usually a bell would sort of wake us up, a big outside bell that we could all hear whatever little place we were sleeping. And somebody walking into your room with a crown of candles and light and singing, and other people with her carrying candles and singing, and you're filled with this light and this beautiful music and this beautiful girl with long hair. Wow, what an exciting way to wake up on the 12th. And the 12th now is also the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe, the patron of the Americas. This beautiful story in Mexico that happened with a picture of her appearing on this cloak that's the Basilica for. And it was, she appeared to this peasant guy, Juan Diego. And it's just been such a rich thing. It's the patroness of all the Americas. So that was Advent. And then we celebrated the days that you went and visited somebody who was pregnant and somebody who had a little child to take care of. We did all that kind of things to get ready in gratitude for the great gift that God was going to give us, or has given us already with God's Son, because Advent is a time when we think of the coming of Christ in history, mystery, and majesty. History is a time we're more familiar with, the birth in the stable and all of that part. And we hope to continue this even maybe in the next couple of weeks, except next Monday, of course, is Christmas Day. We might manage to do something on Christmas Day and for New Year's Day, but not sure yet. Scott and I have to figure that out. And so we wish you a beautiful preparation week right before Christmas. It's next Monday is Christmas Day. So that experience for me, and it inspired everything. It inspired Hope for the Flowers. And last week I read some of the part that's with Yellow's ability to accept not knowing. And that we have to do that too, not knowing. And today I was listening to Alan Watts a little bit. And one of the things he made the point of is the waiting and not being preoccupied with learning to meditate too well. It's just that we have to learn to do it in our everyday life, and that we find it in the things around us, this peace and life and gratitude, and live in the present moment. All we have is the present moment. But he talked about the present moment being a big movement, not just a little split in time where we preoccupy ourselves with the past or the future. Live in this bigger present. And that's really a beautiful thought, that we focus on the beautiful present that we have, because that's all we have. And I was reminded of that this week when one of my very best friends in this world just dropped dead. She's the one with a lot of my Hope stuff that she was working on, my new books and things like that. And we don't have the password for her computer. So we have to wait and see how we manage to do that with her, in cooperation with her children and her next of kin. But she lived right near me, and I shared my car with her, and we shared food together. So it's quite a loss when you think of that. And I'm 92. So I have to be about settling in my affairs too, and making sure someone knows my password of my computer. It's pasted on my computer, by the way, so that people should be able to get into it. And so these are the realities of life, aren't they, folks, for all of us? So Advent, I want to show you some of these Advent sculptures. That is what we sold in the world too.
So just to be clear, Trina, these are statues that you have molded with your own hands.
And these are casts of those. I made the originals in ceramic, and then we fired them and made molds. I think you have some pictures, Scott, that are probably better than some of what I can show. This is called Fiat. Let it be done to me according to your word. When the angel came to Mary and said, you are to become the mother of God. And she says, is this to be done? Because I know not man. The Holy Spirit shall come upon you and overshadow you. And the son that shall be born to you shall be called God, the gift of the Most High. Pretty hard to understand. You don't understand it, but to take it in. But it's such a beautiful story of surrender. And the idea is that Mary surrenders to the whole human race. Scott, by the way, I don't see anything except the portal to enter this email. So I trust that you see it all and know what the visuals are of this.
Well, I'll tell you. Why don't you put that particular statue
down? Yes.
And did you want to share some of the images?
Some of those, because they're probably better.
And please navigate.
The Atsum is the face with the two hands. Just that. It's almost life size.
Can you see this?
That's the Fiat is that, and the Atsum is the first one. And our dear Marisol put it in a strange setting. We could show that first, and I'll talk about that one too, whichever goes first for your organization.
Well, Trina, while you're getting organized, I'm going to go through some of the other images as well.
Please do. And I have the Atsum in front of me now, but I don't see anything.
Why don't you navigate on your computer so that you can see some things, maybe through Command Tab, and I'll continue to show some of the images for our audience. There's the manger.
That's the Christmas itself.
Yes. And this is what you wanted me to show originally.
Command Tab. Well, it's not.
Beautiful,
No,
beautiful.
I come back to your StreamYard. So that's the way it is, folks. I just trust that
I guess it
that
is.
Scott knows what he's doing. So
Well,
I'm coming up. This is the Odsum, the young woman. It's our presence before God, all of us, male and female. So it's either in my hands or on the screen, whichever.
we're seeing you at the moment, Trina.
Okay. Oh, you seeing me at the moment? Okay. You're in my arms then.
Yes.
The Odsum. This is the best-selling thing in our national production things. The goal was to make good spiritual based art that would not cost families too much. So these were very inexpensive statues we cast. And so that was my goal in the community and for the people of the world, because we were up against pretty gaudy Catholic art that's pretty widespread, and you probably have all seen it. And so then this is, I showed some of this before. This is my nativity. This is my nativity. And of course, she can wait all during Advent and call her Advent Madonna at that time, like in the middle of an Advent wreath or on a table. Then at Christmas, we can put the baby in her arms.
And you found the right baby.
Well, this is the right baby for this, but if we also have an Epiphany baby, and that's for the 12th night, Epiphany feast of the glorification. And this one, it happens to be with the white. We do it in two versions, the white and the brown. And so this is the white one. I don't have a brown baby right now available to me.
I'm just amazed by the talent that you have, Trina, because you've written books, you've done statues, you've done posters. Truly a rich and talented
Well,
life that you're leading.
I'm very grateful, and that's what it's for, is to help people get closer to God. Scott, that's the purpose. And no Catholic worships any of these things. They're just ideas to remind you of our final goal, which is the arms of God, the arms of love. And this is a Joseph that goes with it. And there's 17 pieces altogether. And we'll go into some of the others when we do a more Christmassy version. But I also want to show you this one. This is a cast from a white marble. I had the privilege of being in New York in 1960-61. And I took a class with Jose de Crept, who's in the Museum of Modern Art. And I just loved his work there. And I had got a white marble things. You can just see exactly what shape that was in. A long, thin piece of. And his idea was that you take off as little as possible off of the original marble. And he didn't want us to make a clay sculpture first of it, but we could draw, make drawings. But we just took off the little bit that needed to be taken off. Scott, I don't know if you can get any of the details, because the details are kind of fun on this.
Yes, we can. We can see a face. It's very, very minimalistic, very simple, powerful.
And there's the hands. So this was.
There's a lot of emotion.
It's the same idea, Scott. It's a surrender. It's a relationship with God that I was trying to say. And there's one back here. This is Joan of Arc. This is an original. There's no cast of that, and it's bigger. Then I also made a teeny weeny, a small little fiat statue for our production program, because the other is really big, very big. And one of the fun stories about that first one, that big one, the hands like this, is that an Anglican minister just loved that statue and bought one and had it on her piano. And every so often it would disappear. And it turned out her little girl, like about 5, would take this heavy, big statue and put it in her doll carriage and wrap her in a blanket and take her for a walk and put on her glasses, her dark glasses, and take her to a walk. And she wrote me this beautiful article about this and her little girl doing that. And that was such a pleasure to me. Also to see that this reached across. These ideas were big theological ideas about coming close to the one splendor, the one love of God. And they crossed denominational boundaries too. So that pleases me, because that's it. That if we go deep enough and far enough into any one of the great spiritual paths, we come to the one splendor. And I think that my own path has been very helpful for me. But I think that a God of love is able to reach you on whatever path you're at and bring you to the one splendor. If you try to be faithful, and it's probably best that you have some sort of a practice that will keep you steady in the path, because we're up with a lot of temptations to crawl over other people and to get to some artificial top, which is not really the fulfillment of our being. So that's our Advent. And then Advent is also this big time between the creation of the world and the end of the world. And the end of the world does not have to include the rapture idea. The end of the world can come like a thief in the night. And it does not require terrible wars between the chosen, promised land people and the rest of the world. It's an individual thing that will make the difference. How we stand before God. If we give them the cup of cold water, Matthew 25 has it beautifully summed up. If we give the cup of cold water, if we feed the poor, if we visit the sick and the imprisoned, this is going to be the test. Not all of our achievement, not me and whatever talents, God, that you see that I have in art or in writing. Those are not going to be the things that count. It's going to be the love that we've shown to each other. And when I think of the world and I think of the climate crisis and I think of the killing of one another that's going on these days and our country's part in it and the exportation of armaments that kill one another and the use of war, I think of the best thing that could stop the climate crisis would be to stop the wars and stop flying all over, bombing and creating bombs. It's the first biggest thing that we could do. And so that's where I stand with my life right now, to try to stop the wars and follow through with my tasks and the time that God gives me at 92 to still do that kind of work. So that's my thing. I could go further with us, but maybe we've talked enough today. I don't know.
I think you're helping us go through Advent season, and I look forward to next week, even though it may be, Christmas a week from now?
Christmas Day. It'll be Christmas Day, but
Christmas.
we might be able to do something before that and just have it put up on Christmas. If there's any followers who happen to turn in, fine and dandy. And if they don't, they don't. And I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. Oh, let me show you
One more thing.
One more thing.
What do you have? Oh yes, look at
This
that.
is the Holy Family. This, along with opened up our whole art production program. With this one figure, this one statue, and a lot of people have bought a lot of them to give to their grandchildren. These things are not in production right now. They could be again, but it's a big project to set this up again after it's stopped. But it's doable. It's all doable. If there's a person who's inspired to do this, it can be done. I have the originals and the models that can help it start, but I'm not going to do it again myself personally. I've been there, done that, shall we say.
Well, having been there and done that, do you have any final words before we say goodbye for the week, Trina?
Well, this is the advent of the world. And so get yourself involved with something that's meaningful. Help stop war to start with. Help stop climate change by helping change the structures and stopping the war. That's the first thing that will help climate change, famine, and everything else. Stopping the wars. Stopping killing each other. Stopping climbing over others. Because there's nothing at the top, and it doesn't matter because we're meant to become glorious butterflies and sweet, be able to drink the nectar of every flower we meet as we bring their love to the next flower we meet. So what a wonderful vocation that is. I hope you're as excited about it as I am, really. It could be beautiful. Thank you.